Native-born Nebraskan Steve Farris has made his life all about ducks and guns and rock and roll. And at home, along the Central Flyway, he's dedicated himself to enhancing the habitat of the waterfowl he loves.
Nice shot.
There we are!
That was awesome.
I like that.
I like that too.
I like that whole, duck hunting. I prepared for this hunt. The first day I shot a duck in Bassett, Nebraska, and it was a green-winged teal. My life's been nothing but hunting ducks, and though I was a musician for many years and I had some great successes, I've often thought, I wonder how successful I'd be if I wasn't daydreaming about duck hunting all the time.
Single on the left, coming hard.
I'll take him when I'm ready. The art of duck hunting is calling a duck in or fooling them by the placement of decoys, your concealment, and everything else. If you haven't fooled them, got them to go feet down, cupped wings, you haven't earned the right to kill them.
Get him through. Well, he set up pretty, didn't he?
I'm not about killing stuff anymore. I'm about decoying the birds and getting them in, and that's why I love duck hunting. You know, Brad, optimism is the key ingredient in all duck hunters, you know that.
Absolutely.
On the hunt with Farris and Benton, and on his first time in Arkansas, is Winchester ammunition expert Brad Kreiner.
Come from Southern Illinois, I'm used to hunting a lot of open flooded fields, corn. You get a lot of pass shots. The birds act differently, you call differently. The shots are completely different. When Bill and Steve were explaining to me how we were going to be shooting it, I thought, well, this is going to be like shooting ducks in a barrel. And it's really not. You get a bird come whipping in and he's cutting through trees, and then all of a sudden the bottom just falls out and he's dropping in on you and you're trying to shoot a falling target. It's pretty tough.
Get him.
There you are, Billy.
Man, that blind side of that duck. Whew. At Green Tree, we've got several options for hunting the timber. These include forced permanent blinds. We have one of the blinds that's located in the largest of the holes on the property. This blind was actually here when we got here. We call it the skybox. It's about 20 feet off the ground. We've got a nice set of steel stairs and walk up, and it gives you the opportunity to shoot them coming and going.
Holy cow, there's birds all over.
Get them. That's the way you call them through the trees, Jesse.
Woo! Single coming around, Brad.
Brad, shoot the duck. Shoot that duck. Hit her. Perfect, perfect.
Bullseye.
That deserves a high five right here.
Duck hunting here is a little different. They're the same ducks, and they respond to calling, I think, the same way, but the calling has to be a little different.
Wood ducks on the left. Get them. Get them.
Woo! Good shooting, boys.
I used to think it was a bunch of hogwash about having to call softer, because in Nebraska, you can't call loud enough. Here it's about toning it down, doing a little different thing. It sounds really, really different in the timber.
You'll see every variety of call in the world, and they're all effective depending on the person that's at the other end of the call.
That's kind of the fun of listening to guys that are really good callers, and by the way, they're all good callers down here.
Such good callers that each November, for the last 75 years, Stuttgart is where the World's Championship Duck Calling Contest has been held. Traditionally, this is to duck hunting and calling what the Masters is to golf. And an integral part of that tradition is perhaps the world's greatest waterfowl hunting store, Max Prairie Wings.
Max is a special place. If they make it for duck hunting, Max has it. And I have spent many afternoons in Max and plan on spending many more.
Max has always been a big fan of Winchester ammunition.
Typically the guys will stand outside of the duck blinds with the dogs. They have a better 360 view of what the ducks are doing.
Here we go.
Timber calling is a little softer. It's a little more deliberate and largely depends on the body language of the ducks and how the weather is for that particular day.
And the decoy spreads, it isn't so calculated about what the spread is, and the concealment isn't quite the same. You don't have to conceal quite as hard here, but you have to let them hear you. And I think that's what I pick up on down here, why the culture has always been about calling, calling, calling.
Kill it.
With a bigger hole like this, especially on cloudy days, it gives the birds can see this particular opening from a long way away. And as you notice today, we're shooting down and up.
Pretty interesting, the downward shot from a blind.
Very interesting and not typical. Well, let's get them. Shoot them, actually.
That's a day. Have a good day, boys.
Hey boys, this blindside, make them pay.
Yeah.
Great hunt.
Great. Thank you.
It's too bad we didn't do any good.
Well, you know, this is about all we can do. We have to, these guys right here, that's XGD.
XGD. What does XGD stand for?
Extra good duck.
Extra good.
That's a GD?
That's a GD.
That's GD. He's a
That was my
borderline
favorite.
XGD,
Well, that's
actually.
darn good duck.
Yeah,
Well, that's a beautiful
borderline.
duck.
I sure like that ammo.
That was good hunting.
Yeah, that's good
Put them
stuff.
on the water.
Did it great.
Good job, guys.
Let's head back to the lodge and have a cup of coffee.
For Steve Farris, the green timber of Arkansas may seem a radical departure from the rivers and potholes of his Prairie State, Nebraska home. But what ties the two together for him is waterfowl. Even ahead of his love of music's been his love of ducks and geese. That's why Farris gives back through his membership on the board of Ducks Unlimited Conservation Programs Committee and by his private work in enhancing wetlands habitat.
Steve's a true sportsman. He has a passion for what he does. His properties in Nebraska are special properties that he sculpts.
Although they live nearly a continent apart, Benton and Farris share a similar passion about the birds and the lands they have come to value through their mutual love of hunting.
So Bill's been building clubs and duck facilities for longer than I have. We have a lot of similarities, which I think is interesting because we've come from different places and different paths. Yet we have a sort of energy about what we think this stuff is and what we're involved in our passions.
I grew up hunting the timber, guided in high school, just basically followed that passion for the timber through some special properties, none the least of which was the Winchester property in Stuttgart, Arkansas, that John Olin started in 1945.
Chairman of Winchester for many decades, John M. Olin's spirit of conservation was reflected in the numerous properties he dedicated to wildlife and wildlife habitat.
Captains of industries and heads of states and World War II generals and Cary Grant and Gary Cooper and Clark Gable and you name it, they hunted the Winchester Club.
Olin's Winchester Club became the Greenbrier, and Benton owned it from 1993 to 2002. 3 years later, he purchased his new club, the Green Tree, surpassing Greenbrier in every way.
I've had some nice properties over the years. Green Tree certainly qualifies and probably ranks at the top. It's a property that had great bones. It needed some amenities, which we've added.
Some of the food in that place is a bit beyond really good.
We've gone to great strides to make sure that the whole experience, including the hunt and the lodge and food portion, is over the top, and we've got a great group in now. Tonight you're having a venison Wellington.
Oh darn.
My theory is that we're stewards of the property. We don't ever really own them. We just kind of manage them while we're here, and hopefully we make them better than they were when we got them.
Stuttgart, Arkansas, duck capital of the world. And the essence of Stuttgart hunting is wading flooded timber and shooting ducks as they whiffle through tree branches.
Our next hunt, we're going to go out and stand by the trees.
Which is a traditional Arkansas style of timber hunting for mallards.
That's Arkansas hunting. That is the old school deal they've been doing forever.
Here they come. Shoot that drake.
Yes! It's about concealing yourself by a tree and standing there and maybe using the tree as your hide, moving around it a little bit if you have to, whatever, and coming out and shooting. Right here.
Sometime in your life, you've got to get out and do it. It is just a really neat experience. It's completely different from what you may be used to.
Right above us. Your bird, Brad, your bird.
Bradley. Lord!
It's tough to know when to shoot.
Nicely done.
Boy, did he come in beautiful though?
He did it.
Good stuff.
It really doesn't compare to any other area I've ever hunted in.
Steve? Nicely done.
Bullseye. Love that in the trees. This is the real deal, isn't it?
Nicely done.
This is the real deal, man. Kip, is that one of those things they call a mallard, greenhead? I think my best duck hunting memory are the times that I limit out, remembering the times that I did not. And I think that's what it's all about. That would be a greenhead mallard. Arkansas
And a
style,
timber.
brother.
And a
Arkansas
timber.
style, Kip.
That's it.
Just to stand by the tree,
Dang
getting
right.
them close, because I know you and I like to get them close.
I want 'em right there.
That was like off the
On
barrel.
there.
Brad got one a little earlier, man. I was way afraid he was going to take you on there for a second.
I thought he was coming right
That
at
was
me.
like I hit him in the head when he shot.
It's the mystery of the birds you're chasing. It's the mystery of the fact that even though I sometimes think I've got them totally figured out, and then I realize I got nothing figured out. And I think that's why I keep chasing them. I think every memory is tremendous, and I hope it is forever. Good stuff.
Don't get any better than that.
Yeah,
Don't get
man.
any better than that.
It's the deal, man. Good job, brother. Good job.